Have you ever stopped to think about how we are constantly surrounded by noise? I'm not just talking about the sounds around us, the traffic, the buzz of people, the incessant notifications on our cell phones, but also the internal noises, such as our worries, anxieties, and repetitive thoughts. We live at such a fast pace that we often can't even stop to take a deep breath and reflect on what really matters. Our mind gets so busy with the constant flow of stimuli that we lose the ability to observe what happens inside ourselves. Perhaps you've felt this way, as if you're just reacting to life, rather than actually living it consciously. Stoicism, a practical and timeless philosophy, offers us an answer to this modern chaos: silence. But what does it mean to be silent according to the Stoics? It's not just about shutting up or avoiding outside noise. True silence is the one we cultivate within ourselves, a state of peace and serenity that allows us to observe what happens both in our internal and external worlds, without getting carried away by distractions. In this video, we'll explore how the simple act of cultivating silence can profoundly transform your life. Let's see how silence helps us see more clearly, make better decisions, find emotional balance, and even improve our relationships. And don't worry, we're also going to share practical tips so you can start practicing silence in a simple and effective way in your daily life. Before we move on, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. This way, you stay up to date with content that can really help you on your journey of self-knowledge and personal development. In addition, you also support the growth of this channel and help us continue to bring transformative content that can make a difference in the lives of thousands of people, including yours. We live in a noisy world, and noise is not only present in the sounds we hear. Noise is everywhere, in the notifications that keep coming, in the demands of work, in the commitments that pile up, and of course, in the pressure to always be connected and available. There is a constant bombardment of information that, over time, leaves us exhausted, anxious, and often without direction. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, not knowing where to start or how to slow down, know that you're not alone. The feeling of always being late, even if technically everything is up to date, is one of the most common effects of this overload. Silence, in this context, emerges as a powerful tool for those seeking balance and clarity. Think for a moment about what it would be like to take a few minutes out of your day to simply disconnect from everything and just breathe. Can you imagine this moment of pause? No social networks, no emails, no commitments. Just you, with yourself, in a state of peace. That is the true value of silence. In Stoicism, silence is more than a temporary escape from noise. It is an invitation to inner recollection, to a conscious pause that helps us find clarity in the midst of confusion. When we do this, we are not running away from the world, but rather preparing ourselves to deal with it better. It's like recharging your batteries to come back stronger and with a clearer vision of what really matters. In the modern world, where we are constantly stimulated to do more, be more, and have more, silence offers us an alternative. It invites us to simply be. To pause, reflect and, in doing so, recover our own essence. Have you ever been afraid to be silent? Not the outer silence, but the silence that forces you to face your own thoughts? Often, when we are silent, we are forced to confront issues that we would rather avoid. Thoughts about who we are, what we want out of life, fears we can't name, or feelings we'd rather ignore. And that's exactly why silence is so valuable. It forces us to stop and look within. It creates a space where we are required to confront our own truth, without distractions. This may be uncomfortable at first, but it is in this discomfort that we find the answers we are looking for. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Stoics, wrote in his meditations about the importance of stopping and reflecting. He practiced this silent introspection daily, seeking to understand his own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. For Marcus Aurelius, silence was not an escape, but a tool for self-knowledge. And he believed that by better understanding ourselves, we can live according to our values and principles, which leads to a more meaningful life. Think about that moment when you're about to react impulsively to something, an unkind comment, a mistake at work, an unexpected piece of news. What if, instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, you took a moment of silence to reflect? Just a few seconds of pause can completely transform your response and, consequently, the outcome of the situation. This is exactly what silence offers us, an opportunity to act, rather than just react. It gives us the space we need to understand what we really feel and what we really want to do, without being guided by the spur of the moment. We've all gone through moments when we react in the heat of emotion and, soon after, regret it. Sometimes it is a word spoken without thinking, other times, a thoughtless attitude that hurts someone we love. These moments of impulse, when left unchecked, can have great consequences, both for us and for those around us. Silence, as the Stoics teach us, is a fundamental tool for emotional self-control. Seneca, another great Stoic thinker, stressed the importance of silencing emotions before acting. He said that by silencing our immediate reactions, we allow emotions to flow without overpowering us, which gives us time to make more thoughtful and often fairer decisions. Think of a heated argument with someone you love. If, instead of reacting with thoughtless words, you choose to pause for a moment, breathe deeply, and reflect on what you really want to convey, how could this conversation be any different? That short pause, that moment of silence, can be the key to avoiding regrets and strengthening the relationship. Silence allows us to observe our emotions without completely identifying with them. It gives us a broader perspective, allowing emotions to calm down so that we can respond in a more conscious and balanced way. How many times in a conversation have you realized that you were more concerned with what you were going to say next than actually paying attention to what the other was saying? This is extremely common, especially in a world where everyone wants to be heard, but few really know how to listen. Silence, in this sense, is a powerful tool in communication. It allows us to truly listen, without interruptions or immediate judgment. When we practice silence in a conversation, we are giving the other the chance to express themselves fully, and this creates a space of trust and mutual respect. In addition, silence also gives us time to process what has been said. Instead of responding on autopilot, we can reflect on the other's words and what we really mean in response. It makes our interactions more meaningful and authentic. Imagine a work meeting where, instead of impulsively responding to a criticism or idea, you take a moment to silently reflect. Not only does this demonstrate maturity, but it also gives you the chance to formulate a more thoughtful and effective response. How many times have you made hasty decisions, driven by the pressure of the moment, and then regretted it? In today's world, we are encouraged to make decisions quickly, whether it's work, finances, or even personal relationships. We are bombarded with the urgency to act, to solve problems, to take a stand. However, this pressure often leads us to thoughtless choices, which could be different if we had given ourselves the time to reflect in silence. The Stoics believed that by creating space for reflection, we were able to evaluate options more clearly, weigh the consequences, and ultimately make a decision that was more aligned with our values and goals. This process involves practicing emotional detachment, meaning that before we act, we allow silence to help us filter out emotional and impulsive influences. You may be wondering, how to apply this in practice? A simple way is, before making an important decision, to step away from the situation for a few minutes. Go for a walk in silence, take a deep breath, and let your mind process the information without the pressure of time. This not only clarifies ideas, but also allows you to see things from a new perspective. Another practical example could be the technique of silent reflection, which consists of taking an intentional 5-minute break before making any important decision, whether at work or in your personal life. During this time, you can just observe your thoughts, without trying to force an immediate response. Often, the best answers come precisely in this moment of inner silence. Additionally, you can incorporate other practices such as mindfulness, which is a form of meditation focused on being present in the moment. This practice helps the mind slow down and notice details that might otherwise be overlooked in a high-pressure situation. Mindfulness, combined with silence, allows you to make more conscious decisions that reflect your life priorities. In the workplace, for example, many leaders make decisions under pressure and end up opting for quick solutions, but not necessarily the best ones. When these leaders embrace the practice of silence as part of their decision-making process, they make room for deeper reflection, consider alternatives that might have been discarded in the heat of the moment, and as a result, make wiser and more strategic choices. Think of great leaders throughout history who, at critical moments, chose to remain silent before making a crucial decision. This pause time is often what differentiates a rash action from a prudent and successful choice. We live in a society that associates being busy with being successful. However, this constant rush has taken a heavy toll in terms of mental health. Stress, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion are increasingly common problems, affecting people of all ages and backgrounds. In the midst of this turmoil, silence emerges as an essential refuge. But here it is important to make a distinction. We often confuse loneliness with solitude. Loneliness is usually associated with unwanted isolation, that feeling of being alone, even when surrounded by people. Solitude, on the other hand, is a conscious choice to spend time with yourself. And it is this intentional practice of being alone that allows us to re-establish our mental and emotional health. In the silence of solitude, we are able to disconnect from external demands and reconnect with ourselves. Studies have shown that quiet time can indeed have a positive impact on our brain, reducing levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and promoting a sense of calm and well-being. Silence also activates areas of the brain associated with creativity and problem-solving, which explains why the best ideas often come when we are silent. In addition, silence can be a powerful ally in the treatment of anxiety and depression. Regular practice of quiet moments helps reduce mental agitation, decreasing the feeling of being overwhelmed. It allows the mind to find a point of balance, where negative thoughts and excessive worries begin to lose strength. Have you ever experienced turning off your phone for a short period, maybe just for 15 minutes, and getting away from all the distractions around you? At first, it may seem uncomfortable, but this short break can already make a big difference in your mental health. This moment of reconnection with inner silence is essential to relieve accumulated stress and improve your concentration and productivity. In addition to the mental health benefits, the practice of silence also brings physical gains. Reducing stress and anxiety directly impacts heart health, improves sleep quality, and even strengthens the immune system. This is because, when we are in a constant state of alert, our body enters a kind of survival mode, which impairs its natural functions. Silence, by calming the mind, also calms the body, allowing it to recover. For those who want to start this practice, a good tip is to start with small intervals of silence throughout the day. It can be during the morning, before starting activities, or at the end of the day, to relax the mind and body before going to sleep. You can combine these quiet moments with activities that promote solitude, such as reading a book, writing a journal, or simply sitting in a quiet place and observing your surroundings. Now that we have explored the benefits of silence in various areas of life, the big question is, how can we, in practice, bring more silence into our daily lives? The first thing to remember is that silence doesn't have to be a complicated process. It can be introduced gradually, through small moments throughout the day. Instead of reaching for your phone right when you wake up, set aside the first few minutes of your day for silence. You can use this time to meditate, practice gratitude, or simply listen to the sounds around you. That short break first thing in the morning can prepare your mind for a more peaceful and focused day. Between tasks, try taking quiet breaks. It can be something as simple as lying down for a few minutes doing nothing or taking a quick walk in a quiet place. These moments help calm the mind and increase your productivity throughout the day. Take time to walk without the use of electronic devices. Walk in a park, on the beach, or anywhere that offers tranquility. Take advantage of this moment to observe nature or reflect on what is going on in your life, without judgment or haste. A good practice is to set times of the day to be completely disconnected from social networks and cell phones. Not only does this create more time for silence, but it also reduces anxiety caused by too much information. Cooking, painting, writing, gardening, all of these activities can be opportunities to practice silence. By dedicating yourself to something you like, in solitude, you create space for reflection and self-knowledge. It is important to understand that silence is not something that should be feared or avoided. It's a powerful tool that can transform your life in ways you might not even imagine. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control what happens around us, we can always control the way we respond. And silence is the key to this conscious response. Silence, as we have seen, is not just an absence of sounds. It is an active practice that can change the way you see the world and how you deal with your emotions, decisions, and relationships. How many times a day do you actually listen to yourself? If you think you can improve in this regard, start now. Take a moment for silence, notice how you feel, and see what you can learn about yourself in the process. If you want to continue learning and exploring ways to live a more balanced and conscious life, I suggest you watch the 2 videos I left on the screen. Each of them complements today's theme and will bring more valuable insights to your journey. I'll wait for you in the next video.